Hi there. Welcome to Life Between Coasts, the podcast where we dive into our personal journeys connected with synchronicity. So grab your coffee, light a candle, and let's begin. I'm your host, Leah, and we're glad you're here. Today we sit down with Emir. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. And Emir is going to tell us about his life journey. So go
Sure.
ahead. Tell me about you.
I guess from the start, I was raised in Saline, which
So you're here, born and raised in Michigan.
born in Michigan. I think it's important to start with like growing up in Saline.
Mm-hmm.
Was like my parents, they're immigrants, so they were poor, and then went to U of M. Started out, we were like eventually got to middle class by the time I was really remembering stuff,
Right.
maybe. But it's like I remember like, not having too much, and they worked their asses off and, built that up. But then I think it's important to talk about my experience growing up in Saline. Was it felt like it was a bubble that was it was very safe,
Right.
but it was a place where there was not much uh like there were two black guys in my graduating class. Like it was all white people,
Right.
farmers
Right.
and
So a bit more rural because they are
yeah,
pulling in from some of the outer townships.
and there was a lot of money there too.
Okay. So affluent, rural.
Yeah. So I it's like I kind of didn't really grow up in a realistic situation when it
Okay.
came to like the world.
Okay.
And then when I graduated, I ended up going to Eastern, so came here to Ipsy.
Uh-huh.
And
Which, even though now, mind you, 10 miles apart roughly, and so night
yeah,
and day.
yeah, it's completely different. Like,
Culture shock for you,
yeah,
even just being that short distance because of that bubble,
yeah.
right? Okay.
It was like at first it was just the amount of stuff that I could do. Like when I grew up in Saline, there was nothing,
Yeah.
and we would just wander around, and like the police would stop us to make sure we weren't smoking cloves or something. Like it was really, it was silly, and I
Right.
never took them seriously, but because we weren't doing anything, we were just bored. But
Right.
I wasn't really like in like any drug groups or like hanging out, smoking weed, all that stuff. And then came here, I kind of picked that up a little bit, but uh, yeah, it was much different. I met a lot of different people,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a lot, and it was like way more fun. It was so much more to do. Started doing like parties and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that was like a huge change. And then just going to school for a bit. Normal school wasn't really for me, so I only went for a year and a half
Okay.
to Eastern. I never picked a major. I just kind of didn't know what I was going for.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped. But then I still like I moved here
Okay.
in the end. And so I was around all of my friends that I met during college.
Okay.
And so I kept here and basically just kind of learned the differences between a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And like especially at first, sorry.
You're fine.
Especially at first, like I said, there's a lot of money in Saline.
Right.
So there was the immediate difference was interacting with people that don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
And like even like going to the bar, the amount of like homeless people you end up talking to when you go out, stand outside for a cigarette.
Okay.
And it's just it's always interesting.
Right.
I used to get stuck outside for like 20 to 30 minutes because they're working it trying to get money, but they're just telling me all this stuff. So I always found that enjoyable.
Right.
Not like the like being like, oh, their lives are shit and like I'm fine. Like it's not that, it's just their perspective of
Right.
what they're showing me. And that was a part of like why I liked Ipsy, but it's like everybody here when I first got here, it was just so different and interesting. And I think that really changed how I saw like what was going on with the government. Like I started paying more attention to politics
Okay.
because it was just seeing the people who are actually suffering and being affected by things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that made me more interested in politics, just at least to know what was going on.
Right.
So I think that was like a huge shape changing thing in my life, was going from that bubble where I didn't have to know anything and everything was good, and it was nice. I had a great childhood,
Okay.
but then like coming out of it is like I didn't know anything. And I feel like that's most people
Well,
probably are at that.
there is a level of or a degree of naivety that that people possess. I mean, I grew up in a very similar situation, a very mostly white area in northern Oakland County. And it was a more rural area. And we had, similar situations where there's other cities that were surrounding us, that had more diversity than we did. So it was just being exposed to different things,
Yeah.
and it was, um, I feel that, you never locked your doors kind of thing. It's just you just showed up and walked into your neighbor's house because that's what you did. Everybody's doors was open were open at that point. You didn't lock car doors because you never worried about somebody rifling through your stuff while you were asleep at night. Those things didn't happen, because you felt safe and secure in that little bubble.
Yeah, and being in a rural area, it's like the spacing is different.
Yeah.
So it's like there's not always people wandering by,
Mm.
but then when you go to an actual city,
Yeah.
there's constantly people all over the place.
Now, when you're out with, like you said, hanging out, having a cigarette or something, and talking to people, were they giving you a story, or were they wearing a mask, putting a show on, or were they being real? How were you having?
I think there's different. There's because I mean here there's a few that I like. I've met them multiple times.
Right.
Like there's one guy who used to be a boxer,
Mm-hmm.
who's like a staple of Ipsy basically.
He is.
Like
He is.
I used to love seeing him because he could talk forever. But I'm sure there was plenty of people putting on
Yeah.
a show because they're just there to try and get like some change or a couple bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I never cared
But the
about.
fact is that you recognize them as humans and you had a conversation. You just didn't stand there and ignore.
Yeah, it's like
It doesn't matter wherever your slate in life is at that moment, because you don't know where they came from and what got them there.
Mhm.
I mean, we all have choices to make, right? So,
Yeah.
now for about a year and a half, you were at Eastern,
Mm.
and then you stopped. Did you go back for formalized education, or did you just say, not for me?
I never liked it. It was my main problem. Like even when I was in middle school and high school, I hated homework,
Okay.
but I like it. But then I'm like, I would do the tests and I would get those, and I would basically pass because I knew this stuff. I
Right.
just didn't want to do that extra work that I felt was unnecessary.
Because you already knew the information.
Yeah,
You
and
retained
then
the information.
and then when I came to Eastern, it was all the prerequisite things. I had to take like a class to learn Excel spreadsheet
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And I'm like, I already know this.
And
So I just didn't go to that class.
right.
It was that problem. Like I
You were being
ridiculous.
challenged.
Yeah.
So therefore, because you weren't being challenged, it was just a waste of time.
And then it was at the same time, like I said, I never had a major.
Right.
So I didn't have a specific reason to be there.
Right.
So I felt like I was just wasting money
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't have that major, that path, the reason to go to college.
Right.
So that's why I stopped. I thought I might find something later,
Right.
but I never did.
Right. What now then what did you when you stopped going to school, you said you remained in Ipsy. What did you do?
Well, so I went back to I used to work at an Arby's that was out in Ann Arbor.
Mhm.
So I went back there. I ended up working there for 15. Because I originally started there when I was 15, like in high school,
Okay.
and then left for college, and then I went back, and I think that was like another 8 years I was
Okay.
there. And then I got fired from that job.
How did you get fired?
Well, I took it way too lightly,
Okay.
and not to. I mean, I feel bad now, but I was a night manager at one point. I used to bring like friends in at like after we closed, and I'd have the people I don't want to be there. I would like have them leave, and
Okay.
then we would drink vodka and play like apples to apples or different card games
Okay.
till the middle of the night, and then
I could
I
see
just
that.
wouldn't show up. I wouldn't show up sometimes, and I just didn't take the job seriously.
Okay.
But it was also partly was like they didn't have enough people to fire me because I was most of the time I was there and fine, but it was I
The
didn't.
few times that you
Yeah, and then eventually they're like, "We have enough people, so you're fired." And I was like, "I get it." Like,
Yeah, well, you pushed the envelope for as long as you could, and
yeah,
it worked in your favor. And
I had a lot of fun.
yeah,
Let's put it that way.
now how old are you?
37 now.
37. Okay. And then so you stopped working there.
Mhm.
And then so did you remain just in food service in general? Is that what? Well,
So yeah. Well, I took a month off. I had money saved.
okay.
It was like the best month of my life.
Okay.
I just slept on my friend's couch and played video games all the time. And it was like it's the one time I haven't been working
Right.
like a full-time job for
Right.
so long. And even now I haven't taken like a full month off yet.
Right.
Like, and I miss it.
Yeah.
But no, I worked at a McDonald's. I think it was a month or two,
Okay.
and I hated that job. I worked the grill during breakfast,
Okay.
and that was the worst.
Okay.
It's too much. But and then Mr. Pizza. It was the boss called and was like, "Do you want an interview?" And I was on my way to that McDonald's job. And I
Okay.
said yes. So I called them and I said, "I got a flat tire. I don't know when I'm gonna come in." And I just never showed up again.
Just do the interview.
Yeah. And then I was at Mr. Pizza for a month. And then one of the managers at McDonald's called and asked me if I was ever coming in again. I was like, "Oh no, they're desperate." Like
They didn't take you off even after you
full
walked off
month.
that.
A full month I didn't talk to anybody or show up. I even left my last paycheck. I was like, the government can have that one.
Wow.
I hate it.
And they still called you.
Yeah, they did.
Wow.
I
That's
forgot it.
funny.
I forgot about that. That was really funny.
So, Mr. Pizza, so what do you do there?
Deliver pizzas.
Deliver pizzas,
Sometimes I work inside if they need it, but
but mostly deliver
deliver.
pizzas. So what, and how long have you been doing that?
It's now been 10 years
You-
since last November, so
Really?
yes.
So you've been delivering pizzas for 10 years.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Why? Well, right. So I'm just saying, but why that profession?
I mean, partially it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just do like working the day shift. We do prep and deliver food.
Right.
Um, another part of it is like getting people food. Like
Mhm.
for the like 9 times out of 10, people are happy to see me
Right.
because they're
Unless
angry.
unless somebody in the
Yeah,
screwed up, but that's
right. Yeah. Well, there's some people are just always angry,
right.
so there's nothing you
Right.
can do about that. But
Right.
yeah. So like part of that, and like kids love. I always love delivering to a birthday party.
Right.
Because it's like they see the sign on your car and then you stop and then they all lose their freaking minds.
Yes. So excited. Some pizza guys here.
And it just pisses off the parents. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some to that. you know.
But is it, because some people would say, well, why would you know, why would you want to deliver pizzas?
I mean,
Well,
like I said, like it's
like you said, it's like being a florist. They're happy to see you. Well, of course, unless it's a funeral. Yeah, that might be. I mean, well, unless they left you a lot of money. But there could be other reasons too. You never know. But when, some people say, well, I think the stigma has been removed from being food delivery because of DoorDash and Uber and all of those Grubhubs and whatnot. Just because it's open and accessible to anybody to do that now.
mm,
But it's one of those jobs that you literally clock out, go home. You don't have to worry about. You don't have to think about. Nobody's going to send you an email at midnight because you didn't send them the whatever report that you promised that you would have them before close of business. One of those things. So it's one of those perfect jobs that you can just cut yourself.
low stress
Uh,
for sure.
I mean, is there personality issues at all when you're working or?
No. Well, I mean, I'm a
Like,
very agreeable person, so
okay.
I kind of don't experience that stuff most of the time.
Okay.
But yeah, some people, people get upset
Right.
for various reasons, and there can be people butting heads, and it can get a little stressful if it's like really busy there.
Right.
But for the most part, it's low stress, easy job, so I can a lot of like I think about all kinds of other things while I'm working.
Right.
Um and so that's another reason I like the job is I am like a creative. Like I'm always I don't put much in um like the signs of like I'm a Pisces,
Right.
which is the dreamer, which is like the two fish.
Yes.
And so I'm constantly like thinking of weird things
Okay.
or things that I think are funny or interesting or
Right.
and I like to like take notes with all of that and like record that stuff
Right.
for if I want to use it for something later down the line
Right.
because I do want to write. I've planned on writing some fantasy novels
Mm-hmm.
that I've been working on. It's been a long time. Technically, some of the ideas I originally came up with, I was still working at like the Arby's. So this has definitely been like over 10 years, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
That some of the ideas that I've had are now like in place
Right.
for like these novels,
Right.
and but it's like the amount of time I've spent just taking notes and then realizing I can combine all of the random things that I think of
Right.
has kind of culminated in I'm at like I have the outline, I think, as a writer. And well, no, I've written down like what I want, the main points of things that should happen.
Right.
And I've kind of been planning it because I want to have it's going to be multiple books, so I want to make sure I have it
Series
make sense
to connect them all together and
as a story. Yeah,
to have some sort of bloodline between them.
yeah, because I it's like I've noticed when writers they write a book and then they're like, we want you to make sequels,
Mm-hmm.
and then they don't make sense because you're just making up a whole different thing
Or
added onto the end of your one book.
or what was the problem with the one? Is it the? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it the Game of Thrones where the guy hadn't even finished the ending by the time that the filming, or there was
Still
something?
hasn't.
Right, there's something still that so they had to kind of make up whatever because
Yeah, they made
the
up
story was amazing,
Yeah.
but they still, so from the writer's perspective,
I think he said because I think he has one more book, maybe two.
right?
But I think he said it, like in some interview that he like wrote himself into a corner. So he's like
And then
really hesitant to put
the
that stuff out.
right, and that's a true problem.
Yeah.
Especially if you have an idea when you're trying to create something like a series. I mean, we don't all have like a Harry Potter, in our brain that we can just
Mm.
put pen to paper and just write and create something like that. So, I mean, to be able to have that ability, and that foresight to be able to sit down and create
Yeah.
that outline for it. Now, so all of these are fantasy, sci-fi, fantasy. Which way?
Oh, it's kind of all over the place.
Okay.
I have I have like the fantasy series that kind of focuses on a few people.
Right.
So that's like all like one thing, but then I want like I've got an idea for a graphic novel that's set in more of like a kind of like I at this point it's like a corporate dystopian future with like cyborgs and
Okay.
like crazy stuff like that.
Okay.
Kind of like a cyberpunk
Okay.
type thing.
Okay.
Um which I increasingly think about as like it would be very relevant right now. So, but I'm not really like that, like, I'm not that kind of artist where I can like draw my own graphic novels. So I'm like,
Right.
if I put that down, I might try and find somebody to put art to it.
What do you
Um,
find as your hardest, and outside of the graphic side, but what do you find is the hardest when formulating your ideas for writing? What do you find, like, is it just putting the pen to paper or fingers on a keyboard and actually writing the story? Or is it that you have so much jumbled here that organizing those thoughts to be able to put it on paper is the most difficult?
I don't, so like I, f- I feel like the hardest thing, it comes down to like getting the pen on paper. I think it really comes down to there is that like based in fear, like our people are gonna like it.
Right.
Um certain aspects like I haven't really like written much with actual like dialogue, so I'm like that learning how to write that out properly
Right.
is one thing that I still need to do. But I think for the most part it's like based in the fear of if people are gonna like it, and I've tried to go away from like worrying about other people
Mm-hmm.
because I really just want to write it for myself.
Right.
Which because I think authors, like the books, like all of the characters, everything in it, I think is you,
Mm-hmm.
because it is you're taking ideas, life experiences
Right.
that happen to you or that you see or perceive, and you interpret it your own way. So then each character, even the bad guys, you made them.
Yes.
They're from your personality. So it is like I
You've
want
given them
to,
their traits
yeah.
and
So it's like they are all you.
yes, you've
And
developed them.
it's like I really want to write it for myself because there's so many things that are so hard to explain
Mm-hmm.
to people in the proper way.
Mm-hmm.
And especially nowadays, everyone gets mad immediately. So it's like, why try?
Right.
But then it's like, so if I could put it in a book, then maybe people can understand
Yeah.
what I'm seeing and what I think about the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so but then that also sometimes makes it even more terrifying that I'm putting myself out there. Like,
Well, just sitting
that's
out,
the tough thing. So,
just sitting down here today, though, is putting yourself out there. I mean,
sure.
this here is putting me out there.
Mhm.
I mean, much like you, I prefer to be that wallflower, kind of like back there. And like I said, I don't know what's driven me to be here, sitting here and doing this, and it's. eh, with the ability to self-publish these days or partner with Amazon or whatever, those big giants, shouldn't name drop and give them any free advertising, but hey, they're everywhere, right? So we can't dispute that. But just with all of those abilities to do those
Mm.
things, it's like, why not? It's who cares at the end of the day? Who cares what somebody thinks of you or thinks of your writing, because it's your writing.
Mhm.
And it's something that you've produced and you've put out there. I mean, if we have hiccups in our sound or if we have hiccups in our video, which we've had over a couple episodes, like one of the recent one that went out this week, we had a video hiccup. One of our cameras shut off mid interview and didn't interview, but my backside when I stood up to look in the mirror. So, all for about 2 minutes, and then it was done. And so we're like, okay, we're going to try some new camera angles on this one. It just used the wide shot for most of the interview. And unfortunately, those things are going to happen. But what are you going to do? It's like we can't re-record the episode because then we're going to miss the mark on everything. You're going to miss that conversation that we had and all those important points that we hit. So it's like, if you make a few mistakes or if some of your, whatever happens, it's like, who cares? But you're developed something, you put something out there that's part of you. Have you ever thought about getting one of those like microphones that you can record yourself when you're driving and things?
Oh, like talking?
Yeah, no, seriously. Because they translate, because what they do is they record you, like you could be writing your book as you're delivering.
Sure.
They record and then you do like it does a voice to text convert, and then you can go in and edit and change and structure and add in some character descriptions and things like that. So you might aid your writing process a little bit easier, or ignite a, and just instead of getting in front of a computer or sitting down with a tablet in front of you, and instead of like being overwhelmed just to do that, if you're just talking to yourself out loud, sometimes
Mhm.
that's the first step of just getting that engine rolling again.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You know?
I mean, I just have a notes app on my phone,
Mm-hmm.
so I just write up whatever I think of.
Right.
Like, it's just at any time of the day if I think of something that I think is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of drunk ones that make absolutely no sense because I'll just be in at the middle of the night and I'm just like this, and then I look at it and I'm like, what? That means nothing.
Just I do.
Literally, this means nothing.
Great. I have a lot of drink lists. Oh God.
No, where were
No, just
microphone?
about just
No, that
your
could work.
voice.
That could work. I think so, but I think like my main problem is it's like when you've got the routine of like working and then I go home and like do whatever, watch stuff, and it's so much the access
Yes.
of like all the normal things it's just so much easier as a procrastinator.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to write a book for myself and there's no deadline. That's the worst thing for a procrastinator.
Set yourself some deadlines.
I did that once.
Have somebody else set you deadlines.
Well, I did it once and COVID happened.
Yeah. Yes.
That was I was gonna like because I want to go like to like somewhere that I can just be away from
and just
the
go
normal thing
so
and
take
just
the
be
month off
there.
and just
And
rest.
so I was like planning that right when COVID happened, and then I was like, oh sweet, I'm gonna have all this time off.
But
But
you were
pizza is essential according to the government.
Pizza is essential. Pizza is definitely essential.
That's true, you know.
Do you realize
Could you imagine
they have over 100 menu items?
at our pizza? I've never counted it, but it
I
seems like
You
it.
could probably eat a different thing every single day
Yeah,
for a couple months.
I'm sick of all of it
Yeah,
anyway.
I've eaten a lot of Mr. Pizza. We're working on it, but I'm gonna tag Dave Portnoy, and get him here to do a one bite pizza. I mean, he graduated
Get
from
him
UW.
out of everything.
Yeah, well, no, just a one, but he does that one slice or one
Right.
bite slice or whatever. He graduated from U of M, and I see it. He does these things like damn near daily, about these pizza
sure
bites.
like it.
But I don't know when the last time, he's been here in Michigan. I see him on the East Coast where he lives, and you see him in Chicago, see him in Miami, but I haven't seen him back in Ann Arbor, Ipsy.
It's where the money's at.
So, and plus, here's the kicker, and we're gonna make a short on this one too, I think. But here's the kicker: is I think that the owner's son has a strong resemblance to him.
Oh, really?
And so I think that it would be fun to see see side by side, because they're roughly about the same height.
Okay.
So I'd like to see side by side if there is actually a resemblance.
That'd be fun.
And see if I could get that one pulled off too. So you never know.
Found his doppelganger.
I have found a doppelganger.
Everyone has one.
Everybody does, but he seems to, if you actually Google Dave Portnoy doppelganger, there's a lot of people that present them. But this one's pretty darn close.
Yeah.
I'll show you some pictures and you tell me what you think.
Hell yeah.
Before we do that short for him. But no, it's you know what? You work for a hometown pizzeria that has been in business for over 50 years, and they, the owner, the owner before he took on partners, the main owner, or the original owner, I would call him, is just got a great heart and is good to people. So he's just, I think that you found yourself in a good spot that's given you the opportunity to do a lot of things, and where people go, oh, you just deliver pizzas. No, it's, what, you make a successful career out of doing that. And the beautiful thing is it's low stress and pretty much no drama. Unless somebody runs through the front door with their vehicle or something, but that hasn't happened in a long time. So
it is Ipsy. There's plenty of drama.
There's always drama. I mean, there is drama, but just not like in a terrible way.
It's not and world-ending decisions and
not at all. So let's, one thing that I want you to touch on though is I want you to talk back a little bit about your parents. You said your parents were immigrants and they worked their butts off to get you, and you have a sister, right?
Yes.
Just to get you guys where you need to be.
Yeah.
Now, where did they immigrate from?
So they're from Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
And so how old were they? It was like early 20s. Because I know my sister was born, and she was 3 when they came here.
Okay.
But it was like my parents, they got scholarships to U of M.
Right.
My dad became an electrical engineer.
Okay.
My mom went for anthropology.
Okay.
Which I think helped because she ended up being a stay-at-home mom. So studying apes probably helped her a little bit with me.
That's very cool.
I don't know how much it helped, but
maybe not with you, but studying is critical.
Some tips on how to observe apes.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure I was plenty of monkey, like
right.
I did some weird stuff, but no, I had it's like they originally they lived at U of M, like housing and stuff like that.
Like family housing.
Eventually moved to Stone School.
Okay.
And then they built our house in Saline that we're still at, that my dad is fully, like, they built that, like, they had people build the house, but he's fully upgraded that thing like crazy. He's not a procrastinator. He's the exact opposite of me. He's constantly working.
Okay.
But
just because you're a procrastinator doesn't mean you're not working.
No.
I mean, because your body might not be in motion, but your mind is always working, it seems. So it's not, you're constantly throwing ideas around. So that's where that creative mind. So just because you're not into the physical manual labor, side of that side, it doesn't mean that you're not always working.
It's just different.
It's just a different form of it. Now, do you still have family in Iceland, or do you go back?
Yeah.
How often do you go back?
I mean, I haven't been there. I think it's 4. It's been 4 years.
Okay. COVID was part of
4 or 5. It was after COVID that we went.
Well, part of that period of time.
Yeah, it was still like, you're supposed to wear masks, and it's really made the flying experience enjoyable, that's for sure.
Right.
But so it's been, usually we would go every other year.
Right.
When I was growing up. Right. So I've been there a bunch of times.
And how and what's the culture? I mean, obviously it's far less population. It's what have you taken from that culture that you bring back with you? every time you visit?
Um, well, they're very much like more that European style.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like I grew up with soccer, like most people around like in the US aren't that into soccer,
Right.
but
Or food.
I'm like all about it.
Yes.
I just the way of thinking. One of my favorite things that I know like a lot of celebrities talk about this is that they don't care if you're famous. Like like a lot of celebrities like to go there on vacation because they get left alone.
Okay.
Like nobody's asking for autographs and stuff.
Okay.
Uh so it's a like a different chill kind of energy,
Okay.
but they're all still working hard and just making babies. It's
Hey,
it's crazy to
that's
me.
what keeps
Like
civilization
I know
civilization going.
for
You
sure.
gotta make babies.
Well,
Wait,
it's like you're snowed in half a year. It's what are you gonna do?
keep warm, make babies.
Yeah.
That's good.
You create heat by getting together.
Yes, yes. It's funny. I made a comment about the whole making baby thing. Not necessarily for Iceland,
Mhm.
but there's a commercial for a bank on TV, and for a long time they were talking. It was a couple, and I'll just say it was Chase Bank, but it was this couple, and they were talking. They're sitting at a bar, and she's like, "What are you thinking about?" And he talks about their honeymoon and the safari and this and that, and then it comes back in, and they're sitting in an office, and they're talking to the guy, and she says something about buying a house, and they said a ranch in Montana with horses, and so all these things. This is how the conversation went. And they've revised that commercial and no longer show that version of the commercial any longer, or at least in this market. Now, they show about the honeymoon, and instead of talking about the house or the ranch in Montana with horses, he says babies, and they say house, and he says babies, and then she responds baby, and that's the end of the commercial. So you could tell when the marketers are going with the line of that general audience of trying to push us to have more kids.
Oh yeah.
Because the one kid or 1.5 kid that that is produced by families, most families isn't enough to propel our generation to, or our people, our country, to keep going. So we never work to have, yeah, well, and not just workers. We just need the population.
Yeah.
There is certain factors. I think that's probably why Elon Musk, has so many children. But I guess he's got the money to take care of them.
Right.
So that's the other factor. The kids are expensive, right?
Oh yeah.
But now, what else have you taken away from the culture that you bring back?
Hmm. I don't know. Uh I think a lot of maybe the drinking.
The other thing to do when it's cold and
Uh
snowy.
just kidding. No, I think it's just the relaxed, like anytime I go there, it's like I'm seeing family. I'm not
Yes,
working and having to
but
do
just
stuff, but it's just the relaxed nature,
right,
and it's kind of cool. Like all of my family is like in Iceland or they're around
right,
other places now, but it is kind of nice to have that family that's close by that you can just wander through and just be like, "Hey, what's up?"
yeah,
Like I've never really had that. Like so it's just
no,
my
here,
parents and my sister here.
right. But there you could just go
What's that exists here.
visiting.
There's whole families in one town, and
Mm-hmm.
but it is a difference. Like when I go there,
Yeah,
it's just there's constantly people just wanting to see us
right.
because we're in a completely different country. So it's
And it's
get it while you can.
yeah, and it's your family.
Yeah.
It's your bloodline at that point.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But then at the same time, it is like I show up every so often, and then I like just my tendency of like anxiousness and awkwardness. it's like a little weird to see them like years later. Everyone's like looks different and
Right.
trying to catch up again on what we're doing, and
Yeah.
it's
But it's
different.
fun because that's kind of like, in essence, it's a family reunion because the majority of your family is there. So, like you said, you're pretty isolated from that, at least that leg of your family.
Well, our reunions are nuts.
I'm
There's
cer-
so many people.
how many?
We
How
have to
many
wear name tags.
do you?
That's the few that I've been to. We've always had name tags
Okay.
because there's so many people, and it's like we've rented out full campgrounds.
Wow. Wow. That's usually because now you're talking, say,
Yeah,
100 site
we're like
times, 4 people per
Yeah.
site. So you're talking a party,
yeah.
a major
The
party.
last one I went to was like on my dad's side, and we had color coded. It was color coded based on because it was my great grandmother, and then like they color coded based off of which kid you were from,
Could you imagine?
and the color coded they were sperms, and then it had your name on it, and it was and then yeah, and it's crazy. We get up to the weirdest shit.
The fun humor,
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're goofy. Like
Yeah.
yeah, they got a good sense of humor over there.
that's good. That's
But
good. Well, and then just the natural, everything you see, just the natural. I mean,
hey,
that Ireland, Iceland. There's so many countries on my
oh yeah,
bucket list, of course. But just of course the typical. I've been to England, but I have to go to you got to go to France and
Mhm.
everything, and like to go to Turkey. That would be amazing, just to go to
Yeah.
the mosque that's there. That's what 450 years old, or maybe longer. I don't know. I don't know dates, but the one that they're restoring,
Yeah.
it was a former Catholic cathedral or something like that. But just to go there, or just to go to Egypt to see, Cairo, just to go to the museum and see the pyramids. I mean, these are just amazing things. But just that the springs and just the glacial activity that you see, just to go there, just to be around that would be
Yeah,
amazing.
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, how much of the country is
It's pretty much the coast.
just the coast?
So like just
So anything
around
in the middle is
there's like a little bit like coming in, but basically the center is like a giant glacier,
okay.
and then there's like a middle part that you can go through, but there's like lava fields
Okay.
that it's like it looks like moss grows on top of it. So there's certain areas they tell you can't go because the lava fields are so thin that you will fall through and then no one will ever find you because you'll fall like and just be gone. Like
Really?
yeah. So there's areas that are like
It's
you
pretty
can't
scary when they
go.
give you warnings like that. Don't
Like
you think?
don't go here because you will die.
That, that's pretty scary.
Yeah,
That
and you can't
think
tell.
think about that.
It's just like you
Don't
can't
go
tell.
there because then
Mhm.
you'll go missing and you'll go, oh, he's gone. That's
Yeah.
our
And then like
first
the
mistake.
glaciers,
He's gone.
we did one of like the touristy things where they got a big old Jeep with all kitted out, and then they drove us up a glacier,
Uh-huh.
and it's just like he has a specific path that he has to
Man.
go
Yeah.
because it's the same kind of thing with the glacier is the ice. You can't see where a lot of these drops happen,
Right.
and then like you'll just never be found
Yeah, I did
because
the
it's like these like ravines of ice.
yeah, no,
That
I
are
did the
crazy.
touristy thing with the Jeeps in the Red Rock Canyons in Sedona and that too, and it's just like um you can see it's a well-worn path, but that's the path. I mean, because there was other recreational vehicles, the trucks and stuff that like to go climbing and stuff that were using the public access areas because you're cutting through those same areas on these trails. And you could see the one guy, he was teetering, and it's like this guy went through, and I'm like, oh, I'd hate to be the driver of that vehicle. Like, you're looking and you've got guys on both sides going, okay, back up a quarter of an inch, then cock your wheel this way and do this, and otherwise you're going to tumble over the edge.
Right.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I
Not,
don't.
not my blood to do that.
Yeah, there's some. It's like it's an extreme environment, but it's gorgeous. Like, and then like the air. It's like, well, that's one of the first things I love when you just get off the plane.
Mm-hmm.
The air is completely different over there.
Okay.
It's just like so much like there's less cars and stuff, so
Right.
it's like it's much cleaner.
Okay.
Um, and then like the water there, that's like purified with like the thermal heat,
Right.
like that's underneath. So it's like very different, but it is quite Americanized. Like they have a lot of they've brought over a lot of stuff
Okay.
because like their main income is like tourism.
Is the tourism?
Yeah. But so I wanted to say the point is I've always encouraged people to travel.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell them like, yeah, go to Iceland, but I've always encouraged people to travel because it exposes you to different cultures and different types of people.
Right.
And I feel like that's one of the things that people who live in the one town their entire lives
Mm-hmm.
and then just hear about things from other people
Mm-hmm.
and their perspective on it, it's like you don't understand how other people live, and then that separates people, like get into those bubbles, like in Celine, like it was like I wasn't really exposed to things, but I was being exposed to going to Iceland and like other trips. Like I've been to Austria, which on my dad's side we have family there.
Mm-hmm.
Denmark on that same trip. So
Mm-hmm.
I've traveled, and it's like when you go somewhere new, it's like you've got to take that time to understand how they do things. Uh, Otherwise you're gonna offend and like alienate yourself.
Right. You
And
have
I
to take
think
the
I think a
time.
lot of people like could really benefit from just being around different things and at least trying stuff.
Right. Because if you haven't experienced or you haven't seen for yourself, you don't have anything to compare it to. So for instance, if somebody's only been in this state or only been in this country and has never experienced the culture or how other people in other countries are, or how good or bad experience, it doesn't matter, but just any of those experiences, they don't have that extra to add to their that fabric to help to understand people from different backgrounds better.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing, I think, that the travel helps to bring, because if you can get off the beaten path and outside of the touristy areas, that's where you can find the real people and find the back door to that local cafe that makes the best sandwiches with the secret sauce that you just you're trying to like figure out what it is.
Yeah, you can only find it by finding it. Like,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Nobody tells you. It's like, yeah, it's like the third door on the right, and you're like, really? And you walk in, you think you're walking into somebody's kitchen because it's weird. I actually did this in a restaurant in Sarasota.
yeah,
This is probably 20 years ago, and it was just like, um, it was the weirdest thing, but it was the best Cuban food I've ever had in my life. So it was just like one of those things. You've got to find those places. And that's how you experience, especially I think another client, or I'm sorry, another interview that we had on, she was talking about language and that communication being so effective. I think food is part of that too. If you can share the food with somebody, that connection, if they can bring to you something that is specific to them or their culture, that's the beautiful thing,
yeah.
in finding that connection as well.
I mean, it even just shows that you're trying, but Breaking Bread
is everything.
It's been around forever. Like it's all over any religion. Like
Yeah.
so, like culturally doing that is huge. And then I think music. That's like the other one that like how basically how jazz started
Right.
was like it was all immigrants who didn't speak the same language and they just knew how to play different instruments and they would go to the bar.
Right. You don't need to understand the words. You don't have to understand the words. You
Yeah,
just
and
enjoy it.
now like jazz permeates like most of American music.
Oh yes, I know.
And it's crazy that
I know, just to be in New Orleans. Oh gosh, that's just I love being down.
I've never been there. There's so many places in America that I want to go.
Ambiance is to die for. I love the city, but I still to this day will say it's a very dirty city. It's just you feel dirty because of the humidity and the heat and you're underwater really at the end of the day. But it's the just everything about it is just it's an amazing city. But you do have to get off the beaten path and get out. And there's a couple restaurants that are outside of Bourbon Street, outside of the French Quarter, that you just have to find. And like Mandina's, for instance, is just like it used to be a greasy spoon before Katrina, and then was rebuilt after, and it's still a little bit more nicer now. But that's where that's the locals. That's where the politicians would go and have lunch or dinner. That's where you would meet those people and just it's you got to go there. That's a big thing. To probably do like a food tour, like of the whole country would be amazing. Just to find those off the beaten path.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's like I say traveling like, and I've been talking about other countries,
right?
But even America's so big.
It is.
It is like there are huge different cultural differences.
Right, and there's and unfortunately, a lot of our fellow people have a very provincial mindset. There's a lot of people that have never left our great state, and that's fine. And there's a lot of people that they're leaving our great state was to go to Cedar Point, and that was it. And so many people, and these are, a lot of these things where we're old, I'm dating myself when I say these things, but there's still a lot of people that don't leave the state, and it is a beautiful state and I love the state and I'll probably not ever move out of it. But there is so much more that's out there and there's so much more that we can recognize, just the connection, just again boiling us down to those three elements that I always do, which is we're human, we bleed the same color blood, and at the end of the day we're just a bundle full of energy. That's it, right? So let's just be joyous and happy and content together, because there's still that so much division we see, and mostly because of politics, and that's why I don't talk, and I keep that out of this conversation, because this is about humans and journeys and us. So now, Emir, as I ask with everybody on the show, what is your personal anthem? What is the song that speaks to you? If you have to amp yourself up for, or pump yourself up for, maybe writing that first chapter or the introduction or even the first sentence of your new novel, what's the song that's going to pump you up to do that?
So I originally thought of one, but then there's one song that just always gives me energy.
Okay.
And that's God, I'm trying to, what is that? Gloria Estefan is the conga. Come on, everybody, let me do that conga boots.
I love that.
And also, sometimes I'm in like a bad mood, and I'll be driving.
I know the song. I don't know what's it's the Miami song.
The Miami Sound Machine.
Miami Sound Machine.
And it's like at any point, I'll like put it on, and I'm just like, I can't help but wiggle my ass while I'm driving.
I love it.
Okay. So I had to say that one.
Okay, we totally are going to put that song on there, because that is an uplifting song.
Yeah.
That is such an uplifting song.
Yeah. You can't help. It's like even in the video, it's all those rich people. Like,
yeah. Oh no. It's because they start and then they start and then they can't hold it and then they stand.
Honestly, it's like any Miami sound machine.
Oh
like,
gosh, I love her.
Gonna do that, but yeah.
What
I just thought of that. I was gonna say something else.
what's your other one? You
Well, the other one was it's a Tenacious D song. That's just "To Be the Best,"
okay.
and it's like a really short, like montage style, like kind of rocky montage kind of
Okay.
style song,
Okay.
and
Well,
it's just like high energy kind of thing. So it's
we'll put both on there.
cool.
I think that's important because you can have more than one. But I gotta tell you, I did not expect Gloria
No,
Estefan.
I got a really weird like music taste, which I got from my mom. Like she's got a huge record collection.
Oh, I love music all over,
Yeah.
all genres. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Just music is everything. So to me, so well, thank you so much for sharing that, and that I love. I do. And thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you again for joining us on this week's episode of Life Between Coasts. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to grow our community of listeners. We'd like to thank Amir today for joining us, and we hope you have a great week. Until then, bye bye.